James gonna have that with that and some tortillas and some blueberries for dessert.
Very good.
And Goldfinger got top of the stack from me of this James Bond collection here. And Thunderball got the bottom, but it was James's favorite, he said.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
guess we have different tastes.
I never saw it when I was a kid. I bought the book though when I was about 12 years old or something. That took a little bit of courage.
Yeah, how'd you sneak that past your dad?
I didn't know about it. But I bought it at the local corner store.
Yeah.
My friends, a couple of friends were there, and they were just shocked. Shock and awe. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, yeah, Goldfinger. I really enjoyed this. It's James was talking about one movie that I will be watching, and James was saying, well, that guy's must have been based, who they based the Austin Power. What is his name? The villain off of, and I was thinking, well, I think they combined a bunch of different things, right? They have this guy, and he looks a lot like the villain, right, or whatever. He seems a lot like that, and I liked the woman painted gold. That was quite different, interesting. I liked a lot of things about the show, actually, and I didn't expect to. Because I've talked about it, I don't care for, what's his name, Sean Connery? As Bond as much as, what's his name?
Pierce Brosnan?
No, well, I like him, but I can understand, actually, why men would like Sean Connery more, because Pierce Brosnan, he's really handsome, too handsome actually, for men to watch and still
identify.
Well, they wouldn't want, like with Sean Connery, he's handsome, but he's not too handsome, right? And he's rugged, and he's not charming with the women. In fact, he might hit them, as maybe more likely to hit them than kiss them. But anyway, so Sean Connery is more for men to watch. Whereas Pierce Brosnan, he's not for men to watch. Like, I watched him and I was like, oh, I like this, but I don't think many men would. They maybe it might challenge their
masculinity?
Yeah, or something like that, watching him as Bond. I'm not sure. So, but with Sean Connery, it wouldn't. Right? He's a macho kind of guy, and he's one of us. I don't know. Honestly, I can see that, though, how he works in this role. He's not my favorite. No, I like, what's his name? The guy...
George Lazenby?
What? No.
He's another one. Alec Guinness did a parody, but I know you're not talking about him. Parody the Bond thing.
I watched a whole bunch of movies with him, and I said that I liked him the best.
The guy you're trying to think of.
Yeah.
Well, Timothy Dalton.
No, I did not like him the best. I think I liked him the worst.
Dalton?
No, not the worst. There was one that was worse than him.
Well, there's the Craig guy, the modern guy. Oh, Roger Moore.
What?
The guy.
Yeah.
Roger
Is that
Moore.
right?
Well, Roger Moore is the guy who has the kind of like the posh English accent, but he's actually Cockney. It's pretty amazing. Changed his voice. He's not supposed to be a good actor, and you get a guy. The guy who played Alfie. Who's that guy? He always does a Cockney voice. Except one time he tried to do a Southern American, a Southeastern United States accent, and that was awful. Who is that guy? Man.
But yeah, when I've been talking about how I've been writing a best-selling fiction novel right now, and of course I'm writing it, so I can't know that it's a best-selling fiction novel, but I'm calling it that because I took the great course, how to write a best-selling fiction novel, and decided, okay, well, I'm going to do that then. You know, now that I've taken this great course and I have it here, it's in the house, and I plan to go through it again once I've finished the best-selling fiction novel, and then, but we'll see if I have time. The library might need it back before I get a chance to do that. But I've referred to it a little bit, but I haven't done everything as I was supposed to. I think it's okay. And
well, you got to write stuff that conforms to your psychological standards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The market isn't the same for everything, really. How would that guy know about all the markets? It's so
but
different.
Although he mentioned the James Bond stuff, he has one part of his signpost method, one signpost part that's called the Q factor, and he's talking about the Bond thing, right? And so anyway, one thing he said in his like that's James Scott Bell, who did that great course. One thing he said is your villains can't be totally evil or whatever unless they're like the Austin Powers thing. He was saying that, right? Like that guy. But honestly, this guy, totally evil. He's not a good guy at all in this. The guy that Goldfinger.
The bad guy.
Yeah, the bad guy. So anyway, and I love it. So hey, sometimes it works. And if you want to talk about best-selling fiction and the whole action thing, this is it. I can't think of anything else that people have responded to as well as this stuff. They just keep watching it. Like, I go to the library, I take out a few, some of them are already gone. I have to wait. And this stuff, this is the new stuff, you know? It's not like these are blockbusters out. People are still taking this stuff out off the shelves.
That one's more than 60 years old.
So, that one got top from me, but I still have more of these Sean Connery ones to come, so they might not be top eventually. We'll see. Diamonds are forever, and James has an interesting thing to say about diamonds, because I asked him a question. The other ones I have here I didn't care for as much, so honestly, I'm not going to talk about them. James might talk about Thunderball. He probably will, because he loved it. But he will talk about diamonds are forever, and because I asked him, I was like, well, coal is flammable, so why are diamonds flammable? And James explained the science behind it. So go ahead, James. Please explain this. You did a great job.
Oxygen likes combining with a lot of different things. That's what burning is. That's what rusting is. It depends on how amenable the thing it's dealing with is to oxidization. Carbon is amenable to it. It's got, as I recall, lots of valence electrons available in the outside orbitals of its atoms. And the thing is, what does it combine with? So carbon, the typical carbon in wood and plant matter generally is not really bound up much with itself. Graphite is bound up with itself. Graphite is what they used to use for pencil lead. Or they used to use lead. I think they use graphite now. That's
graphite now.
Lead wasn't a good idea. But for people's health, for writers and readers, particularly writers. Graphite tends, the carbon in graphite, I gather it's pure carbon, tends to bond together in sheets, 2 dimensions, not 3 dimensions, 2 dimensions. And as I recall, carbon, when it binds with itself, tends to form hexagons. Now, hexagons are basically, you can analyze them like you can with a pie in Trivial Pursuit. I think there are 6 pies in Trivial Pursuit, or 6 pieces of pie, sections of pie. The Trivial Pursuit pie, and they're little triangles, and they fit in to those, they're circles, but really, you know, the edges of the pie sections are rounded, but you can bevel them off, and you could, in your mind, do that, and you'd end up with triangles. And what happens, so that involves a certain degree of, I don't know where they get graphite. It's probably a little bit of a pressure has been applied. I presume they used to just dig it out of the ground. But with in diamonds is the pure carbon, and the pattern all of a sudden of the carbon atoms binding with each other is in 3 dimensions, and there's no place where you can scrunch them down to get them closer together, really. And there's no way, like, I don't know if there are really that many impurities and stuff like that. I should mention with coal and stuff like that, it's, you've heard of carbohydrates? Those are carbons with hydrogens and oxygens. So fructose is a carbohydrate, sugar and fruit. Glucose is in wheat and stuff like that. Sucrose is in sugar, what we typically think of as sugars. Sucrose. They're all sugars, and they're all carbohydrates. So they have hydrogen in them, and the 8s kind of hides the fact that there's oxygen in them. Coal is a hydrocarbon. So, as I recall, is oil. So that's just combinations of C, H, whatever. So methane, I think CH4, so on and so forth. So it's a little bit more complicated. You got hydrogen in there, and guess what? Hydrogen kind of likes combining with oxygen. You don't. The people who are flying the Hindenburg found that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big bad Zeppelin. The big Zeppelin. So oxygen loves combining with it explosively. It's not nearly so explosive when it combines with metals like copper. You get that green patina. That's copper's form of rust. We get the red, we wouldn't call it patina, iron and stuff like that. So that's another complicating factor that I didn't explain to Paul. So you've got carbons, you've got hydrogens there, and under the right conditions, it goes up. People in Los Angeles are finding out about that. That's what made you think of it, was it?
No, it was.
Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds Are Forever.
Anyway, it's topical, both for you personally and for people generally hearing about the news in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So it's just oxidization. There's no room for oxidization in carbons and diamond. They're all scrunched together. Yeah. And that's why they're so tough. The bonding is just like there's multiple bonds for each carbon with other carbons in a 3-dimensional array.
So there's no room for the oxygen to get in and burn.
No.
And so that's why diamonds are forever.
There's no room for anything to get in. Like, it's hard to break the thing, Stuff like that. Anyway, I don't think I explained it really as well as I did last night.
You did a way better job last night. I don't know how it worked out so perfectly. It was more concise, and it just it was very easy for me to understand.
Anyway, I wasn't chowing down on blueberries.
No, that's
I'd apologize, but hey, these are really good blueberries, and that's what deck dinners are about. They're about jawing and chawing. So
yeah.
Sometimes at the same time.
So James was also telling me about Thunderball, and he got me all excited about it. It might be why it's at the bottom of the stack, because I was thinking, oh, well, this is going to be so great because it was James's favorite of the Bond movies, and he even bought the book, he said, and this
I didn't see the movie. Like I was saying, no way my parents would let me see the movie.
I know, but you saw the movie since then.
Yeah, it wasn't that special.
Yeah, the movie, it was really bad as far as I was concerned. As far as, the Bond stuff, not very good. There's big fight scene with people scuba diving underwater, and it's like, okay, they have knives. This really wouldn't be that difficult. They're not going to be able to breathe if they're oxygen tubes are cut or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So come on now.
You don't even
Big
need
fight scene.
knives, just
And
pull the thing out
they're
of his mouth.
fighting for so long, then Sean Connery, he comes along, and you know him because he's wearing the shorts, right? Everyone else is wearing it. And
Is he wearing the Speedos, or is he wearing like shorts? Short briefs, yeah.
Yeah. So he comes along and he thinks of cutting the oxygen tubes, and it's like, yeah, but they should have thought of this immediately. Why is he having to think of this later on? And so he's like a big hero going around cutting oxygen tubes and stuff like that. It's ridiculous.
Even octopi can handle sharks. They stick their tentacles in the gills of the sharks.
Yeah, well, octopus
I've
are
heard
really smart
that might
people,
be
right?
Yeah, I know.
So.
But I guess the flunkies in this aren't.
No. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't care for Thunderball, and the story was. It seemed like that fight scene was drawn out too long, really, honestly, and.
Well, really, that's what these thrillers basically are about.
Yeah, I know. But I didn't like it, so then it's long, and it's like, oh, just get it over with. But anyway, so that one, bottom of the stack. Yeah, definitely watch Goldfinger. Very interesting. So, that's all I have. You're not going to eat your tortillas with that stuff in it?
Well, did I hear it blinking out, or is it still going?
No, it's still going.
No.
You have another 12 minutes.
Anyway.
I see you have Finland.
I'm going to eat those with cheese, actually. I'm going to eat these
Well, I have that there.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You got some cheese.
I brought it all out.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes me a whole day to wake up.
You didn't bring your fork out, like I said, though.
I know.
I'll go get
That's
it.
what I mean.
You talk.
I wake up in the morning, and by 8 o'clock I'm awake. That's 8 p.m. It's the various beds. Anyone who thinks that they're fun beds doesn't understand much. You could try what I take, but you might get a stroke. It might be the last fun you'll ever have. It's not really fun. I don't feel any.
He doesn't have anything for you.
Nothing yet for you guys. I said I'd bring some stuff in for you.
Oh, that's why. So they're all excited.
Yeah, they want to encourage me to finish up. So on and so forth.
Okay.
I'm actually going to eat this. I'm going to be talking about To the Finland Station.
Okay.
So yesterday,
Okay.
if you guys were watching, or the day before when I first introduced
Maybe I'll give you something.
topic of this book, or warned you that I was going to be reviewing. I was saying the Finland Station was in Moscow. I was like, no, it wouldn't be. It would be in, what is it called now? It's called St. Petersburg. I think it might have been called Petersburg or stuff like that. It was called Leningrad for a while after the guy came to Finland Station in the middle of the Russian Revolution. The commies didn't start it. They ended it, actually. They ended the Russian Revolution with a coup. It wasn't a revolution. They called it a revolution of their own, but it was just a coup. That's what Russians tend to do, or commies tend to do. They tend to be part of a coalition that has something like a revolution, or it could be semi-parliamentary, like what happened in Chile in the lead up to 1973 and the overthrow of Allende. Allende was, well, I think they described him as a Marxist, like, cut out the crap. Marxist is a commie, okay? And a commie is a Marxist. There's no distinction. Marx believed in revolution, and he believed in violent overthrow of governments, even parliamentary governments. Okay? And we're not okay. If you don't believe that, then you got problems. That's all I can say. How's that for a logical argument? But you just have problems. You haven't read it. So there is this idea that the Russian commies, when they took over, it took a while to decide on adopting terrorism. Well, that's a different form of terrorism than the adopt. They weren't for the anarchic cell kind of terrorism. They were against people. I think they were called People's Will. Believed in assassinating officials. They actually assassinated one of the Tsars. It might have been Alexander II. Nicholas II. Alexander II. Anyway, assassinated one of the Tsars. Kind of, I think it's like 1860s. And all it did was brought in worse oppression. Not nearly as bad as the commie oppression. And lost my train of thought there. Saw peanuts and I wanted to eat some. Peanuts are not advised for anyone, frankly, but particularly people with cancer. 10 minutes?
8.
8 minutes.
Why? Are you saying I'm giving peanuts to the birds?
They're giving peanuts to the birds, but I started craving them when I saw them.
Oh, should I move them away from where you can see them now?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's just something that people with cancer should resist, because apparently there was something like, I think they're called aflatoxins or aflatoxin peanuts, and apparently they're carcinogenic. I don't want to feed the cancer anymore. I already do. Not that I feed it much. Every so occasionally I'll eat some sugar. I don't think that's a top-notch idea. Hopefully I eat enough of these things, beets and other things. What is it? Cruciferous vegetables and stuff like that, cabbages and so on and so forth. Apparently cancer eats that stuff. Anyway. Commies. Yeah. Lenin is full of the idea of himself. He's full of the talk about revolutionary terrorism. Trotsky wrote a whole book about terrorism. The important thing to understand about Marx is he was very enthused about the last stage of the French Revolution, the first one, the one that started in 1789, a bit farther back than 1989, 1789. And it kept on going. I think they finally put an end to it about 1794 because it started just getting out of hand. And that, it's the Jacobins took over the revolution, and that's when they really started guillotining each other, but lots of other people as well. And that's called the Reign of Terror. Well, I don't know if Marx ever wrote down and said, or wrote and was recorded himself saying, I'm all for the Reign of Terror. But he loved that last stage of the French Revolution, the Jacobin stage of the Revolution, French Revolution, first one. And, the Reign of Terror came with that. He's Marx and the communists in his wake. Actually, there were communists before him. He kind of took over the communist movement and made it much, much worse. It was pretty bad to begin with. Marx brands them all his predecessors, and frankly his contemporaries too, as being utopian socialists. And this is my formulation. Marx wasn't a utopian socialist. He was a dystopian socialist. Dystopian socialist. You got to go through. You got to go to hell to get to heaven. This one pop song went way back, maybe in the 70s or something like that. And but the big trouble is the purgatory of communism is eternal. So eternal purgatory, what is that? It's just that, and that's all it is. It's not just bad handling of the economy. It's like perpetual persecution of people, perpetual, and witch hunting and stuff like that. That's what it's all about. What is it? Trotsky's formulation. It's like permanent revolution. That's what it is. It keeps on going. Permanent revolution, permanent witch hunting, permanent persecution, permanent. Despite all the chit chat and stuff like that, permanent persecution, particularly of minorities. Yeah? Ask the Chechens about their treatment under Stalin. Ask the Chechens about their treatment under, even before Putin, yeah? Boris Yeltsin. And that's a hangover from communism. Yeltsin wasn't, strictly speaking. But the Chechens, they were kind of natives in the area, but still are. And it doesn't go well for them under communism stage 2 in Russia. Understand, Putin is a communist. Former KGB agent. I don't know what they call it now, FSB or something like that. Same. He's a KGB agent. I was watching a show put on by Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone, you should die of embarrassment. You and Donald Trump and lots of other people, frankly, both sides of the political spectrum. But Stone was interviewing in person. Wow, that's awesome. Such a great interview. Asking Fox like leading questions, like it's like slow pitch baseball. Here, hit this, See how hard that is to hit. And the rhetoric of both Putin and Yanukovych, is that his former puppet in Ukraine, the former would-be puppet in Ukraine, their talk was resolutely anti-capitalist and not just anti-American, but anti-capitalist. All you flunkies, I know one person in particular should know better, who go around saying, "Oh, I get it, like Putin's he's not a capitalist." Okay, get that straight. Capitalists are a little bit more competent. Well, to the Finland station. Now, on the front cover, they've got Vico. I think his name is Giambattista Vico. I think are from quite a while back. Was it the 1700s? Saint-Simon, early socialist predecessor. Karl Marx. 10 was anything but a socialist. I don't know why it's put there. There's a whole chapter on him. It's kind of like a reaction to the French Revolution. Michelet, kind of like a precursor of the socialists. Fourier, a socialist. Marx, communist. Engels, communist. Kind of like a playboy communist. He had a horse. Dressed fancy. Lenin, Trotsky, we all don't know. There are all sorts of people like Vanessa, a red-haired, misguided individual, who are going around saying, well, like Lenin got it wrong, Trotsky was great, Stalin was awful. No, Trotsky was awful. He was absolutely awful. He believed in, can you imagine this? He believed in extending the revolution, Russian Revolution, into Western Europe after World War II. After they'd already withdrawn from fighting, or World War I, I should say, after withdrawing from World War I, because the people in Russia were sick of fighting, sick of losing. Hundreds of thousands of boys, really, say men, young men. And he believes that they should extend the revolution into Germany, not stop there, presumably go to France, and then presumably jump over the channel in England. And the working class is going to welcome them with open arms. Well, they'll welcome them with